Hey, sports card fans, it's John Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. This is season 2, episode 10, in which I choose my top 5 favorite cards of a particular player. At the end of last week's video, I spun the wheel of names and it landed on Minnie Minoso. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about Minnie Minoso, so I did a little bit of research, and I want to give you a little bit of background on Minnie Minoso's career. Saturnino Orestes Armas Minoso was born in Perico, Cuba on November 29th, 1923. Minoso grew up on a sugar plantation, collecting cane during the week and playing ball on weekends. He quickly established himself as a star with Negro League teams like the New York Cubans, but as a black-skinned Latin American, was denied the chance to play in the American League or National League until Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947. Minoso signed with the Indians just before the 1948 season, making his debut on April 19, 1949, to become the first acknowledged dark-skinned Latin player in American League and National League history. It was in Cleveland where he was first called Minnie. He spent most of the 1949 season and all of 1950 with San Diego of the Pacific Coast League, hitting .339 in the latter season. Then played 8 games with the Indians at the start of the 1951 season before being dealt to the White Sox in a 3-team trade with the A's. The White Sox quickly put Minoso in their everyday lineup, where he finished the season with a .326 batting average, 112 runs scored, and an American League best 14 triples and 31 steals. He finished second in the American League Rookie of the Year vote to Gil McDonald of the Yankees, and fourth in the AL Most Valuable Player voting. Minoso quickly demonstrated he could play baseball as well or better than almost anyone else around. Between 1951 and 1957, Minoso led the league in triples 3 times, stolen bases 3 times, scored 100 or more runs 4 times, and recorded at least 100 RBI 3 times. In those 7 years, he was named to 5 All-Star teams, finished in the top 10 of the AL voting 4 times, and won a Gold Glove Award for his play in the outfield in 1957, the first year Gold Glove Awards were presented. The White Sox traded Minoso back to the Indians following the 1957 season, receiving Early Wynn and Al Smith in a deal that would propel the team to the 1959 American League pennant. Minoso hit .302 in both his seasons in Cleveland while averaging 22 homers and 86 RBI per year, then was traded back to the White Sox before the 1960 season. He led the AL with 184 hits in 1960 and won his 3rd Gold Glove Award in the outfield. Minoso's average dropped to .280 in 1961, and the White Sox sent him to the Cardinals for the 1962 season. There, Minoso suffered a fractured skull while diving into the Sportsman's Park wall in pursuit of a ball on May 11, 1962, and appeared in only 39 games that season. He finished his career as a big league regular with a stint with the Senators in 1963 and another with the White Sox in 1964. Minoso, however, continued to play and manage in the Mexican League following his big league career. In 1976, at the age of 50, Minoso appeared in 3 games with the White Sox when team owner Bill Veeck brought the Chicago hero back to the South Side. Minoso recorded 1 hit in 8 at-bats to become a 4-decade player, then became a 5-decade big league player when he appeared in 2 games for the Sox in 1980. Minoso appeared in games in the Northern League in 1993 and 2003, making him a 7-decade pro baseball player. It was his play at the game's highest levels, however, that set Minoso apart. In what amounted to 11 full seasons in the American League, Minoso hit better than 308 times, was named to 9 All-Star games, captured 3 Gold Glove awards, and led the league in getting hit by pitches 10 times. He retired with a .299 career batting average, including 2,110 hits, 1,225 runs, 1,093 RBI, and 216 stolen bases. All right, so to help me decide which cards to choose from for Minnie Minoso, I took a look at the PSA Basic Set Registry checklist for Minnie Minoso for his playing days. Now, there are 16 cards that PSA has designated as part of its registry set. It includes his 1952 to 1955 Bowman cards, his 1952, 53, 56 to 64 tops, and they include his 1977 tops record breaker card. Now, here's where I would love all of you to participate as well. In the description of this video, I'll have a link to the PSA Basic Set Registry checklist for Minnie Minoso. And from those 16 cards, we'd love to know in the comments which are your top 5 favorite cards of his. And if you could number them 1 through 5, 5 through 1, it'll help me compile the results for next week's video. And if there are some cards beyond those 16 registry checklist cards that you really like of Minnie Minoso, feel free to put them in the comments as well, and I'll have them as honorable mentions in next week's video. Now, before I get into my top 5 favorite Minnie Minoso cards, last week's video was on Gil Hodges, and there were a few of you who put in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. So I'm going to start off by going over the results of all of your comments from last week's video, see how your top 5 favorite Gil Hodges cards compare to my top 5 favorite. Then we'll get into my top 5 favorite Minnie Minoso cards. Normally, after that, I would show off the cards that I have of the particular player, but I do not have any Minnie Minoso cards currently in my collection. So we're going to wrap things up then by going back to the Wheel of Names, giving it a spin, and see which player will be the focus for next week's video. So let's get started. All right, for Gil Hodges, you had 19 cards to choose from to pick your top 5 favorite. They were his 1949 through 55 Bowman cards and his 1951, 52, 54, and 55 through 63 tops cards. All right, now here are the top cards selected by you. There were 5 of you who put in the comments letting me know which were your top 5 favorite cards of his. And as you can see, the screen is full of cards there, which goes to show that there were a lot of differing opinions with those 5 comments as to which were your top 5 favorites. So here are some of the top cards that were selected. Leading off was his 1957 tops card with 4 selections, as well as his 1959 tops card. His 1955 Bowman card had 3 selections, and then there was a large group with 2 selections each. His 1952 Bowman, his 52 tops, his 53 Bowman, his 56 tops, and his 1961 tops card. Now, there were some cards in the Gil Hodges registry checklist that none of you selected in your comments. His 1950, 51, and 54 Bowman cards, and his 51, 54, 55, 60, and 62 tops cards. All right, so there were some honorable mentions listed in the comments as well, so let's check them out. Starting off with the 1961 Bell Brand. Then the 1970 tops card, that was not part of his registry checklist, as this one showing him as the manager of the New York Mets. And the 70 card is the year following Gil Hodges leading the Mets, the Miracle Mets, to the 1969 World Series. Then the last two cards are the 1988 Pacific Legends card, showing him in a Senator's uniform. And finally, the 1989 Swell card, showing Gil Hodges as a first baseman for the Mets. So, out of all of your top selections for Gil Hodges, how did you rank, or how did those cards rank in terms of top five favorite, and how did it compare to mine? Well, at number five, you had his 1959 Topps card, which I did not have in my top five. And number four was his 1955 Bowman card, which I also did not have in my top five. Then in third place, you had his 1952 Bowman card, which I did have as my third favorite. Then at number two, you had his 1957 Topps card, which I had as my fifth favorite. And we generally all agreed that his best and favorite Gil Hodges card is his 1953 Bowman card. All right, getting into Minnie Minoso. Again, I had and you have 16 cards to choose from to pick your top five favorite 1952 to 55 Bowman cards, 1952, 53, 56 through 64 Topps cards, and his 1977 Topps record breaker card. All right, so for my top five, at number five, I went with his 1952 Bowman card. Love the 52 Bowman set, and just think that's a great image there of Minnie Minoso. Can't quite tell. It almost looks like it's a fence separating the stands from the ball field. A little bit unique. Normally you see some other netting, but this almost looks like an actual fence. So I'm not sure which stadium this picture was taken from, and the artist's rendering of the picture. If you know which stadium that is in the background, we'd love to know in the comments. But just overall, I think that's a really beautiful looking card, and is technically, along with his 52 Topps card, I believe considered his rookie cards. At number four, I wanted this 1958 Topps card. I just love all the colors that are in his 1958 Topps card. You have that bright yellow background, Minnie Minoso in red. You have the blue of the Cleveland Indians cap with the the Cleveland Indians logo inside the C on his cap. Then you have the gray uniform. You have the green down at the bottom. You have the Indians logo there in black over, or red over a black circle. Just so many different colors in this card, but I think they all go really well together, and it just, the card just pops in my opinion. So based on the overall just look of the card, I placed this as my fourth favorite. At number three, I went with his 1954 Bowman card. Now, what I really love about this image of Minnie Minoso is just check out his glove. You don't see a lot of pictures where, the player's glove is prominent, and just, take a look at that glove and compare it to, gloves today, even gloves back in the 10s and 20s, 1910s, 1920s, how gloves have evolved. But that's, to me, seems just like a rather large mitt. He did play the outfield, so that may have something to do with it. But just love, he's just sitting there with his glove in his hands, and I just think that that's a great sort of period image from the 1950s, and so I went with his 1954 Bowman as my third favorite. At number two, I mentioned that his 52 Topps, I believe, is also his rookie card. I think this is a little bit more popular of a rookie card and harder to find in well-centered or nice condition compared to his 52 Bowman card. But just love that sort of cream background. You have the Chicago White Sox logo, which is a unique logo for the White Sox for that time period. Just a basic image there, him looking off to the side. It's just, to me, it's an impressive card. I know there are some collectors out there who when they eventually are able to get the 52 Topps Minnie Minoso card. It's one of the keys to their collection, a very sought after card of Minnie Minoso, and just has a great overall look. So I put his 1952 Topps rookie card at number 2. And at number 1, I went with, and this is back-to-back videos, I picked the 53 Bowman Gil Hodges as my favorite card of his. And I think there's a lot of fan favorites out there for the 1953 Bowman Minnie Minoso card. Just, that pose. I think it's, there's not much to the background. It's sort of that cream background that you see in his 52 Topps card. But just how he's resting the bat there, his hand on top and his chin on his hand, just looking off to the side, a little bit of a grin there. I just think it's just a absolutely beautiful card. And maybe besides the 52 Topps card, people who collect Minnie Minoso cards want to have the 53 Bowman card in their selection. So that is my favorite Minnie Minoso card. So again, since I don't have any Minnie Minoso cards to show off from my collection, let's get to the wheel of names, give it a spin, and see which player will be the focus for next week's video. As you can see, there are 30 names remaining on the wheel of names. Some great players, great cards. So let's give it a spin here and see which player it selects. So next week's video is going to be on, which one is it going to be? Looks like Tony Perez. All right. Yeah, Tony Perez has some great looking cards. Going to be really fun going through his registry checklist of playing days cards to see which I find are his, in my opinion at least, are his top 5 favorite cards. And as a final reminder, again, would love to know in the comments, which are your top 5 favorite Minnie Minoso cards. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.